Okay, let's dive into a book that is, well, it's a real giant. We're talking about Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged, a novel that's as monumental as it is controversial. And really, at its core, it's the story of a strike. But here's the twist. The people walking off the job aren't your typical factory workers. No, they're the world's greatest minds, the innovators, the creators, the thinkers. And right from the start, there's this one question that just hangs in the air. You hear it everywhere. It's the central mystery of the whole story, whispered in a world that's completely falling apart. Who is John Galt? But see, here's the thing. In this world, people don't ask that question because they actually want an answer. It's more like a verbal shrug. It's their way of saying, hey, what can you do? Or don't bother asking, or just who knows. It's the sound of an entire society just giving up. And that feeling of just total resignation, it perfectly captures the setting for this story. A United States that is crumbling, fast. So what does this decline look like? Well, the economy is on the verge of just completely collapsing. You've got businesses failing left and right, shortages of pretty much everything. And on top of it all, the government is just piling on these crushing laws and regulations that are strangling whatever industry is left. And if you look outside the US, it's not much better. Most other countries are already what they call people states. But even with all this decay, not everyone has given up. There are a few people, these incredible innovators and producers, who are still trying to hold everything together. They're fighting back. And at the center of this fight are our two main heroes. First, you've got Dagny Taggart. She is the incredibly sharp, driven VP of a massive railroad company, Taggart Transcontinental. And she's got her hands full fighting not only a mountain of government red tape, but also her own useless brother who's technically her boss. Then there's Hank Rearden. He's a total self-made titan of industry who's invented this revolutionary new alloy called Rearden Metal. And now he has to defend his creation from pretty much everyone. And it's important to understand who they're fighting. It's not really one single bad guy. No, their enemy is a type of person that Ayn Rand calls looters. In the book's philosophy, these are the people who don't create anything themselves, but instead use things like political power and guilt to take what the producers have made. So you've got Dagny and Hank fighting these daily battles to keep their industries alive. But while all that is going on, something else is happening in the background. Something strange. A bigger mystery starts to take shape. It starts like this. The country's most brilliant minds just start disappearing. One day, Ellis Wyatt, this genius oil guy, literally sets his own oil fields on fire and just vanishes. Then you have Francisco d'Anconia, a billionaire copper heir who seems to be intentionally destroying his own company. It's happening all over. The best composers, philosophers, entrepreneurs, one by one, they just quit, walk away, and disappear. And then Dagny and Hank find a clue. A big one. While exploring an old, abandoned factory, they stumble upon the remains of an incredible invention, a motor that could literally pull energy from the air, from static electricity. It's a total game changer, and finding the person who invented it, that becomes their obsession. It's what pulls them right into the heart of the whole mystery. And this search for the inventor, it's what finally leads them to the answer. And it's an idea so radical, it's the entire point of the book, a strike of the might. Things come to a head when Dagny, chasing a lead, crash lands her plane in this hidden valley deep in the Rocky Mountains. The place is called Galt's Gulch, and guess who she finds there? Everyone. All the missing geniuses, the inventors, the artists, they're all there, living in a secret community they've built for themselves, completely off the grid. And their leader? It's him, the inventor of the motor. It's John Galt. He finally reveals what's been going on. It wasn't random. It was organized. He's the one who's been convincing the world's creators to go on strike, to literally stop the motor of the world and withdraw their talents from a society that he believes was just draining them dry. Now, this is so important to understand. The strike isn't just a cool plot point. It's the entire vehicle for Ayn Rand's philosophy, a system of thought that she would later call Objectivism. So what is this philosophy? Well, towards the end of the book, John Galt hijacks the airwaves and gives this massive speech, we're talking hours long, explaining it all. At its core, it's about a few key things. The power of human reason above all else, a fierce, unapologetic individualism, and an argument for pure, hands-off capitalism as the only moral system because it's based on voluntary trade and respects property rights. So this incredibly bold, radical philosophy didn't just stay inside the book, of course, it exploded into the real world. So the question is, how did people react? And this is where things get really interesting. When the book came out back in 1957, the critics, they hated it. I mean, they absolutely tore it apart. But the public, that was a completely different story. It became a runaway bestseller, mostly through word of mouth. And it's never really stopped selling. We're talking millions and millions of copies over the decades. And that incredible, lasting popularity has had a huge real-world impact. For decades now, the book has been this touchstone, this major source of inspiration for so many people in the libertarian and conservative movements, from politicians to CEOs to tech entrepreneurs. Which brings us to the big question, the one people are still fiercely debating today. What is this book? Is it a blueprint for a better world, a celebration of the individual mind, or is it a cautionary tale, a warning of a society that's lost its heart? That really is the powerful question Atlas Shrugged leaves with its readers.